And under the Chicago Street Bridge, I see a man. Our eyes meet. And I glance down and I see him rubbing the outside of his pants as hard as he can, staring directly into my eyes, grinning at me. Welcome to church in the inner city. I decided to refuse to let him win this battle, so I hold eye contact with him as I'm riding by, and I grip my kryptonite U-bolt just in case things go badly. And as I'm about to pass him, staring fiercely into his eyes, he lurches forward, my grip tightens, and then he starts projectile vomiting as we stare at each other. I watched. I continued on my ride. I'm not really sure if I won this battle, but I'm not convinced I lost, so I'm just going to call it a draw. This is part of the reason I love living in big city in America. It wasn't always this way, though. The first time I moved abroad, I was really eager to lose everything about my American culture. I accentuated my A's and my O's, and I did not correct people when they thought I was from Canada. I was just embarrassed of so much of being from the USA. I had been especially excited to spend a week in Japan at the end of my travels. One of the things I was loving so much was how safe Japan was. The first thing that I noticed was that there was armies of bicycles outside of these buildings, like literal parking lots full of bikes, and nobody ever locked them. A lot of them looked the same, so occasionally somebody would take yours home at night accidentally, but then they would just bring it back the next day and you'd figure it out. It was amazing. Japan was great. At night, my two male guides and I ended up staying out late, and even in the middle of the night, the subway actually smelled like daytime and flowers and not liquor and piss and despair like it does here, and I didn't even need to wash my hands after I touched the rails. And our train car was full enough where some of us were standing, but empty enough where you could just sort of hear everybody's conversations around you, and I was exhausted as I noticed this little man stumbling around the car. He was clearly drunk. He was getting into people's faces, and they were just silently looking at the floor, trying to ignore him. And his eyes set on me, and he started pointing at me, and I couldn't understand what he was saying, but I did catch the same term a number of young school kids would say as I walked by them: white girl, white girl. And he was repeating this leeringly as he stumbled towards us, and my guide shoved me behind them. But as the man got closer, they too stepped out of the way and silently stared at the ground without putting up a fight. And I didn't know what the hell had just happened, as my two protectors had literally just stepped out to the other side of the car, and the man's hand was opening and flexing and trying to grab my boobs, and he was so small and harmless seeming. So at first I sort of laughed and I said, "Aye, no, no," and I tried to push his hand away, and that did not slow him down. All I can think of in my mind was like, maybe I wasn't saying the right words. And at this point, the old man's tongue is like out and like coming at me, and so I did all I can think of, and I just put my hand over his face as his tongue was out, and I pushed him away, and he was small enough where he just couldn't reach me at this point. And I just sat there holding the small man's face as he licked my hand for a while, and then we pulled up to the next stop, and I hopped out of the train with my two guys behind me, and I was furious. What the hell, you guys? A little help in there? What is going on with you? And then they looked at me and they said, "Sorry, there was nothing we could do." "What do you mean?" I asked them. And one of them went on to say, well, he was our elder, and in Japan we have to respect the elders. He was the oldest person on that train, so none of us could do anything. "Allison, what you did was really disrespectful." I mean, I was floored. Everything that I loved about Japan's culture just came crashing down on me, and this right here, this was like a giant loophole that I did not like, a loophole that actually made me miss America for the first time. And I realized that there's a bit of American culture ground into me, and yeah, like I may have to lock my bike in the United States, but you know what? I can also take my U-bolt and swing it and defend myself righteously if I have to on the Greenway, and I don't need to apologize to anybody for that. Thank you.
There they are. about you?
I've been busy too, yeah.
You just bought a house?
Yeah, I just bought a house. You just got back from Las Vegas, right?
I was in Tokyo,
yeah.
I was in Jacksonville,
yeah.
I was in Las Vegas,
yeah.
and I was in Minneapolis.
Yeah. Nice.
And I was in Atlanta.
Yeah. That's a lot.
That is.
Yeah. And Jacksonville too. That's like,
you know. The Minneapolis of Florida.
Yeah.
Adam and I are going to interact with you throughout this to understand how to improve our set and make sure that we reach peak Performing.
Yeah, performing at the top form.
And
as you can tell from what we're doing right now with this like banter to try to like.
It's smooth.
Yeah, very smooth.
and so what we'll do is we'll solicit from you a rating after each of our moments, where we'll ask you 1, 2, 3, rate it.
Thank you for not calling them scenes.
Yeah, I was going to call them a skit.
We're just going to have moments.
Moments. Yeah.
Moments on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
and what we would ask you to do is to go through the Rolodex of your mind and assume which childhood cartoon character you feel that scene deserves in a rating. So it could be something wonderful, it could be something terrible, but whatever childhood cartoon character it was, we'll just say 1, 2, 3, rate it! And you respond with that character, and we'll use that to inform our performance.
Yeah, thank you.
Sometimes Adam and I go to festivals,
so
and we'll
Chris
travel
and
around to different towns, different places. We went to Boston, we've been to Rochester, and of course went to Chicago one time. And the problem was that when we go to Chicago,
Boston,
neither of us are known very much for our ability to navigate so well. So sometimes before we had like smartphones, which neither Adam or I had for quite some time, because we're kind of stubborn people. And so we would just be like, we can figure this out. We can print it out. Maybe we'll use MapQuest. We'll use whatever it is. And the thing is, we're so similar that like I know he's going to trust whatever kind of decision I make in these situations. So we just figured, hey, we're going to walk from this like hotel all the way there to where the theater is. And what we didn't realize is that when we had done it on the computer there, we had looked at it as if we were going to drive there. So it seemed like it was a really short amount of time there. But in fact, it was really, really, really far. And this is the thing is, it's like the streets are not as straight as you're thinking it's going to be. So what we decided to do is that we would just follow. So we figured out it was probably going to be on the train line there. So maybe we're going to try to walk under the train the entire way that we could make our way to the theater. And so Adam and I would do this. And the thing is that Adam's not always the most punctual guy. So sometimes he oversleeps a little bit, or just, you don't get the rush. So at the very end here, you feel like you're rushing to the theater because we're going to be late and we're in a different town and whatnot. So like it was much later than we expected to happen. So the thing is, it got dark earlier in Chicago than it gets dark in Minneapolis. And it doesn't make any sense to me, but it really happens there. So I also had not thought about the fact that if we're going to walk underneath the train, it's going to be kind of dark because there's a train above.
I didn't realize they had trains.
So we were going to just walk in this thing. You call it a train, and everyone says, "Oh, do you mean the L? Do you mean the L?" And I said, "No, it's a train." And then I realized they weren't mocking me because I can't spell or something. It's a train. So then we're walking underneath it the whole way there, and every couple minutes, it goes rushing by you, and you think you're going to die. It's like that scene in Ghostbusters where there's like sparks coming out, and you're afraid, and so we start because it's terrifying. And at the same time, it never even occurred to us once that we could just go up the platform and like just ride on the train all the way down to the theater because we figured you needed a Metro card or something. We were like, I don't have that. We didn't have any cash at the time because we figured that we would just use credit card the entire time. It didn't make a lot of sense.
We got there about a half an hour late. 1, 2, 3,
rate it!
Voltron!
Jerry, you know why I called you in, right? Jerry, like you got my email? All right, so I have to do this. It's not something I enjoy doing, but Everybody gets an annual review here. They said I was supposed to be yours, even though you're really not on my team, but no one else wanted to do it. So I drew the short straw. So Jerry, I'm just looking at the notes here on my desk that we did the 360 review this year for you, and your colleagues had a lot of interesting things to say. So I'll start with the positive. Shows up every day. That was something they said. You have never actually taken a day of PTO. And another thing, no. We haven't got to the negative yet, but Jerry, it's you touch colleague. That's one of the things they say is you're a little handsy around the office. So, yeah, you should not touch other people in the office. Yeah, exactly. So, sure, you can, put your hat there. I'm going to go back to the positive. So, another positive thing they say is that you're very detail-oriented. So that's a good thing. Jerry, that's my shoe. Okay, back to the negative. I've never heard this one before in the review, but too much eye contact? Actually, everybody in your 360 review said you have way too much eye contact. Are you tying our legs together? Because it's not in here. Okay, so anyhow, what I'm trying to say is, as you know, we do everything on a scale of, it's 1 to 7, right? 7 being the best, 1 being the worst. Okay, that's far enough. And we're giving you a 2. So, not the worst, because you do show up every day. Always on time, unfortunately. And, and detail-oriented. So you get a 2 out of 7. But we're going to have to put you on a performance improvement plan. We call it a PIP. And that means that you're going to have to come into my office, and we're going to do weekly coaching sessions. You know what? Just keep your tongue in your mouth. Just, that's really not better, but I'll take what I can get. So every week I'm going to schedule a performance improvement review with you. You have, it's good. And so every single week we'll come in, we'll check in, see how you're doing. We'll work on things like the too much eye contact. Okay, closing one eye doesn't make it. That was you're winking at me. Now you're definitely winking at me. So, again, these are not behaviors we want. Unfortunately, your name is on the company, so we really can't fire you. Your dad owns it. So, we'll just be on a PIP for a little while. It'll be okay, all right?
Cool. Your turn. Switch chairs.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, rate it! It's very crowded on the train.
Yeah, this is. I was not expecting this, but they say that about Japan.
Yeah. No, it's. I gotta tell you, I learned 3 things today.
What'd you learn?
First of all.
Okay. Yeah. All right. There we go. That's
first
better.
of all, if it's red, it's going to be hot when it comes out of the vending machine. Like you are going to get a 200-degree aluminum can of tea, and it will burn you.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
But it's red. It's right on the color. They're either red or blue. Like I wish more things were that obvious.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's bad on me. Bad on me.
Yeah, but you learned it. That's one thing you learned.
That's one thing I learned. How about what's one thing you learned?
I learned that you're not supposed to talk to people who are older than you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know how I learned that?
How did you learn that, Adam?
I talked to an old guy
Yeah.
on the train. I said, hey, how about World War II, huh?
Yeah.
Did not like it.
I don't think he ever understood English, but he understood that.
Yeah, he got up and moved real fast. Yeah.
I learned everything's on the left. Left. So like when you're on the escalator or whatever it is, you wait on the left, you walk on the right, and it's the opposite. So there's all
No.
And so it's hard. Sometimes I'm almost like, I should do it backwards.
Oh no, backwards. Oh wait, let's do this. There we go. Okay. Yeah.
If it's cool with you, I'm gonna take a seat.
Yeah, no, go for it. Yeah, there we go.
What else did you learn?
Well, I learned that I love Japanese TV.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of it in the hotel room.
Yeah, mainly because everything's closed because New Year's Day, everything shuts down for like 3 days and there's nothing to do.
Nobody's out.
We wasted so much money coming here for 3 days to sit in a hotel room.
We thought New Year's was going to be awesome.
Yeah, it was, the TV's awesome. TV's awesome.
TV's great.
TV's always awesome.
I feel like we could have got that somehow like through the internet or something, right? Yeah, I don't know. I think we could have streamed it.
And that was our stop.
Yeah. We'll just ride it around one more time.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, rate it!
Rocky!
It's good to see you. It's been a little while. I didn't think you would accept the invitation.
It's been 4 years.
Yeah, 4 years. I see you're back in America.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you've got your passport taped to your back. That's very efficient.
Yeah.
Where did you learn to do that?
Japan. Yeah.
So, I take it you've been reading about the things
Yeah, I've been reading your blog, Brad.
It's kind of how I make my money now. I'm a freelance writer.
Yeah. Freelance writer, more like freelance bullshit artist.
Come on, it's a blog, okay? You gotta keep people engaged. You gotta get engagements. You gotta get people to engage with you. Get social media engagement. It's normal to lie about things, okay? It's a blog. It's covered by the law. It doesn't even have to be true. I'm not a journalist. I'm a blogger.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm a Twitterer.
Yeah.
I tweet. I blog. I gram instantly. These are the things that I do, okay?
So you could just steal my story.
No, I didn't steal your story.
Yeah, you stole
your
my
stories probably have somebody else who's just like that who's happened. You're not the only guy who's ever gone to Japan. You're not the only guy who's licked somebody. Okay? Like, you can't claim that you own these things forever. Maybe that I was reminded of those stories that I realized they were common threads that many people have.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There is no...
I told you that story. I told you I was going to write about it. I was going to come out with a book.
Yes. But books are dead. Long live the blog.
Now I can.
You could, just no one would care.
Yeah.
And I have the rights to the stories now since I published them on the blog. I appreciate that you might feel betrayed and that you might feel belittled and you might feel bamboozled. You might feel a little...
You ran out of B words. You're not even a good writer.
I was going to say ramrodded.
That's an R word.
I know, but then I was going to shift 7 on it and look at the thesaurus.
Look, Brad.
Look, do you want half my AdWords?
No, I don't want any of your AdWords. Brad, I just want you to stop posting my stories, my life, as if it's yours.
You can't prove that Brad Adam Litz has anything to do with Adam Litz. We don't even have the same initials.
Brad?
want to look you in the eyes. I don't have to look any of my readers in the eyes. I don't have to look anyone in the eyes. I get to sit at home and work at home. What's so bad about that? You get to go all around the world and do fun things. And I stay here in America, and it's cold and boring, and the internet is the same.
Why don't you write about the stuff that you do? Why don't you write something that's original?
Why don't you ever come home anymore?
Well, I have things to do. I've got my new business that takes me all around the world to Japan, so I can lick someone on the subway and tell you about it, and then you write about it.
Why don't you ever invite us to go to Japan with you?
Well, I didn't know you would want to go to Japan. Brad, do you want to go to Japan with me?
I'd like to blog in Japan.
Okay, well, I don't have Japan coming up anytime soon, but I've got Jacksonville.
It's like the Japan of Florida.
It is. I mean, yeah, I'm sure someone said that. Yeah. We could go to Jacksonville. We could.
And there's no direct flights to Jacksonville, so we'll have to connect through somewhere.
Yeah, well, probably Atlanta.
It's always Atlanta.
Yeah. So technically, then we're doing 2 cities, right? We're doing Atlanta and Jacksonville.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's like the Jacksonville of Georgia.
Yeah, exactly. And you and I, we could go out on the town. We could do, like Jacksonville stuff.
Like Chili's.
Yeah, we'll do Chili's. We'll do
Applebee's.
Yeah, we could do Applebee's. We could go to the
Toys R Us.
That we might not be able to do. I'm sorry. But I'm sure we could go to a toy store.
Or an abandoned Toys R Us.
I'm sure Jacksonville is full of abandoned things.
Jacksonville kind of is the abandoned Toys R Us of Florida.
It's the first thing you've said that is 100% true.
1, 2, 3, rate it!
Market promotion.